Your eyeshadow never blends like this. Wash closely. Hi guys, Beauty by Tiwa here. So firstly, I'm using my brown lip liner as my shadow base. I blend proper to give that smooth finishing, just the way I'm doing. So I blend just my shadow. I blend the brown liner just into my shadow base. After I use my shadow palette from Annie's Beauty Meets the Brown for my transition shade. I'm using a lighter shade of brown. So I'm blending my transition in circular motion. So if you see I'm blending my transition shade exactly like close to my nose contour. So I'm blending my transition shade on my nose contour to give that smooth finishing. There should not be any harsh line in between your shadow and your nose contour. So I blend my shadow in a circular motion. Then after blending, that is me explaining to my student. After blending, I use this blade to give that straight line so that you have that very sharp line effect. So that's what I did there. I just blend. Then I use a dark shade of brown, a very dark shade close to a black, just to tap in my shadow base. Where's my shadow base? That particular place I use my brown lip liner. So I'm just using a dark shade of brown, very close to a black shade, to tap in my shadow base. Then I blend the outer corner so that there will not be any harsh line between my transition shade and my eyeshadow base. So I blend. So blending is the key. Just keep blending till you see that perfect smooth finishing. So after blending, you can see the difference between this other side and the other side of the eyes. So I did same thing the other side of the eyeshadow. I tap. Then after tapping, I blend the outer corner so there will not be any harsh line. Please emphasize on blending. After blending, I add a little dark shade again. So then you see the difference. You see how smoking the base is looking, how dark that base is looking. So after blending my eyeshadow base, I'll be using my beauty blender and my setting powder to sharpen that straight line, just to follow that straight line so that it will look very bold. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm using my setting powder from Cindy's Beauty and my beauty blender just to follow under the line to give that sharpness just the way I want. I did the same thing on the other side of the eyes. So when doing this particular part, always make sure you look the both eyes, the line are the same or very close. It should be very similar to each other. You understand? So you blend, you will do your straight line, you go back and look, make sure the two lines are together. So here I will be drawing my eyeliner. So when doing my gel liner, you can reduce the light a bit so your model will not tear up, and you just follow exactly under our eye line. So that is when you be drawing your black gel liner. So after drawing my black gel liner, you see I'm just shading. I'm drawing out a very dark line out from the liner, like the under eye line. So you draw a very sharp line out to give that smoking. You see. So if I'm doing this part, I'll be using the tip of my eyeliner brush, the tip, so that I will be able to draw out the line perfectly. So after dragging out the line, that same brush I use for my shadow base, I'll use to blend in the line. So after blending, I will add a darker shade of powder just to smoothen the whole line. If you observe, I'm not taking the black eyeshadow upward. I'm just doing a circular motion. You see, I did not take it upward. So after that, I will be using my transition brush shade to blend between, so there will not be any dark eyeshadow up there. So I'll just blend in between. You see, there's no harsh line and there's no any harsh line. Everything is well blend. Then I'll go into my setting powder again, because this time this setting powder is going to pick any fallout from my pigment or for my shimmers. Yeah, I'm using a shimmers. I'm using a Annie's Beauty palette for my base. Firstly, I added my glue from Classic. My lash glue from Classic. After adding my lash glue from Classic, I'll be using my shimmers from Annie's Beauty palette. So the first palette I'm using is Party Girl. So I'm using this shade that looks like silver from Party Girl. After using that shade, I'm going with the shade that looks like gold. So I'm just trying to mix different color to get the color that will fit the kind of gilly I'm using. Yeah, I'm not using pigment. You see how the glue hold down my shimmers? No fallout. Do you see any fallout? No fallout. That glue is very good, so I recommend. That's what I use for my shimmers and my pigment. So after using that first palette, I'm using the Happy Bride for the inner corner of the eyes, a very nude shimmers from Happy Bride palette from Annie's Beauty. As you can see, obviously my pigment, there's no fallout for my shimmers. Sorry, I'm not using pigment. You see how pigmented these shimmers look? Very pigmented, no fallout, and it's also from the help of my classic lash glue that I'm using. So here I'm using a clean spoolie brush to dust my lashes in case of any pigment that is there, to dust off my lashes so that it will not show when I fix my lashes. So I use my neat spoolie brush to dust off the lashes, then I use my fan brush to dust any excess or any fallout for my eyeshadow. Yeah, so this is how the eyeshadow looks after I've applied my pigment or my shimmers. Then I'm using my brush to add some darker shade to the edge so there will not be any harsh line. Then I blend again. So this is the finished look. I don't know, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned from it. She looks so gorgeous. Bye guys.